Hi everyone, I am here on the south side of our property. So this is the area where we have put our vernal pool, created the vernal pool, and planted a lot of plants. So I thought we'd take a look over here, just right into the heart of it. You can see the trail I'm gonna head down. I'll walk you over here. So I'm right by the garage. And Mother Walnut, oh yeah, look at her in her splendor. And we have robins that usually nest on the gutter right there. And you could hear a robin chatting with me right there. Back here has just become a really awesome mix of shrubs. So arrowwood viburnum, spicebush, raspberry, blackberry, elderberry, gooseberry, and also wildflowers, goldenrods, ragweeds, lots of things that aren't blooming yet. There is ironwood and honey locust. Some of these in here, these bigger trees, were here, but some of them were not. And you go, okay, obviously, Jennifer, but my point is that these are big, and there's willow and cottonwood. Those are fast growing. So probably, well, I know some of those we're facing southwest, that end were put in by Steve as whips. So within 9 to 10 years, you can get some trees that are good size, seriously good size, if they're those fast growing ones. So make sure you include those too. And I'm going to show you some oaks we have in here as well. And we've actually been super excited with the growth on some of those. This is the tulip poplar where this spring I showed you the Prometheas. You can see one of the cocoons still dangling. I haven't found any caterpillars yet, but I bet they're on some plant around here. So there's a ton of trees out in this zone that are just growing and that we've planted for diversity, including different oaks. And there's a really nice oak right in the middle between the walnut and the cedar that's of some size, and we planted that. And then right here we have our wonderful silky dogwood that just the birds plant everywhere because they love the fruits so much. And so we grow that, and then there's a sweet gum that we put in because we love sweet gum. The colors are magnificent. It's like a rainbow in the fall. And I really like those spiny seed capsules. They're actually native to a little bit south of here. But everything with climate's changing, so we're just experimenting. They're definitely in Ohio. Here are some fruits of the silky dogwood, not ripe, you can tell because they are green. Let's keep going. Steve mows a lot of our paths around here, and that's how we keep things easy. Most paths are unsustainable for us in terms of maintenance. Mowing is really fast, and he does it at times of day when we're going to do the least harm to insects and toads and snakes. So never when it's cold and wet, ever. Unless we are in, say, winter and we're doing some land management. Check out this oak tree. We planted that one, and this one has probably put on 3 feet of growth this season. So some of these limbs, this looks like a swamp white, are coming into the path, but no way are we trimming them, no way, so we just dug. Redbuds, we've got basswood, more Australia. Really our goal here, everyone, as you all know, was diversity. Stick in as many kinds of plants as we could, and let Mother Nature plant as many as she could, and let's see who hangs, who can survive, who is hardy enough for these conditions, because the land is different than it once was, and we certainly don't really know that much. And so we just kind of go all out, try everything, and then let the plants tell us who's happy. This is yellow birch, very happy. And we've planted some really special herbaceous plants on this end because the soil is pretty intact here. So there's a lot of spring ephemerals and they are doing great. We have trillium back in there and blue cohosh. And we've out here planted, that's spikenard, Aurelia racemosa. Woohoo! So we have a bunch of those over here. We collected some seed and they did a great job growing. And so we planted a ton. Now, we might have put them too close to the path. We're gonna find out because they can get huge. Who are you, a brown? So we have some browns over here and they love sedges. And guess what? We have sedges over here. Now in here we have these boards laid because sometimes in the spring this path can get super wet and then we really tear up the path. And so we just laid some boards on the ground and Steve can mow right over them. Now you can see this end sticking up a little bit much, so he caught it, but it'll go away. I'm sure it'll rot away. But look at this enchantment of the windy path, the plants all around, birds singing. It's really quite a gift to have a little patch of ground to call home, and we recognize that. It's indeed one of the best pieces of our lives. So I think the really exciting part of that is that we didn't buy a pristine piece of ground. We didn't buy something really expensive because that's not how we want to choose to live our life, by having to make a ton of money to pay for a ton of things. So we bought a cheap piece of land, 3.5 acres with a bunch of buildings, not a bunch, but it feels like a bunch sometimes, that needed some work, and put some elbow grease in, and then did restoration work. So we don't have the money, and probably never will, to buy a really nice forest because everyone knows what, quote, timber is worth. So also, interestingly, we probably can't buy farm ground, at least where we are in the till plain, because it is also expensive. And so this was a gem. We had to give up some things with it, but it's always a trade-off, so you just got to look at what's important. Look at that moss. Putting the elbow grease in though and planting all these plants sure makes a person really excited about every inch of growth, and sure makes you think about land practices that take away plants, because you see that plants, they take some time. They really take some time to grow, and they deserve some seriously deep respect. And the longer we've been here, the more plant associations we are seeing. That's what it all is. Connections, connectivity, the ecology of an area is fascinating. Super fascinating. It's a great raspberry patch, native raspberries. We're not getting many this year. The catbirds are getting most of them. It's been a really tough year for fruits, so the birds are voraciously consuming everything they find. This river birch always has some kind of leaf beetle in the spring, and definitely has some defoliated branches, but comes back every year. It's one of those where, again, you're remembering, I'm planting native plants to feed the insects, to feed all kinds of other life. This was all mowed, everybody. That's a sycamore. This right here is one of the trees I was talking about. Steve stuck this cottonwood in as a whip, which is a cutting just to see if it would grow. And I'm not going to pan up any higher or I'm going to blind us with the sun. But it goes up. That thing is so tall. Look at the girth of that trunk. Wow. And then we're going to come out, and that's going to be the end of this tour. This part of the tour is special to us also because under this other beautiful walnut is our animal graveyard. And all of you that know us know we adore animals. We adore all of our loved ones. Wild, domesticated, everyone. And so what we've done is we have 2 cats in here and 8 chickens, and we buried them and then we planted native plants. And so it's a pretty cool thing. I say cool all the time, just know that I mean it's something I love. We planted these plants, and then you can touch these plants. You can talk to the loved ones that were in your life and that are still living now in these plants, and then feeding insects and feeding birds, and knowing that that loved one has gone out into the world as in so many different forms. And that to us is just really healing. You can talk to them, and it's really quite a beautiful gift then to the earth, because the return of their bodies, we're certain, is a reason why the vegetation in here is so lush. And then, besides saying hi, we like to hang bells, and then you can ring them when you walk by and remember them and be grateful that they were in your life. And with that, we're going to end this tour. More to come.